following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
Hi, everybody. This is former WWE superstar Al Snow.
TW Anderson.
Sean Oliver.
My name is Eugene.
And you are watching the Insider's Edge podcast.
Now get on the train.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Insider's Edge podcast here on the WZWA Network in conjunction with Blue Wire Hustle. I'm your host with the most on the West Coast, Karlifornia in Fury. It is a joy to be with you all once again. I know I say it every single time, but it is a joy. It is a joy. It's especially a joy for me right here, right now. You all know out there that I'm a big fan of WCW. You all know out there that I've seen every single episode of WCW Saturday Night, WCW Worldwide, Main Event, Power Hour, Prime, all of those little shows, as well as Nitro and Thunder. And so it's I've got this plethora of knowledge of all these different guys, and I'm always hopeful that I can track these guys down. And I managed to track someone down that I didn't think I would be able to. And I'm so proud, I'm so pumped to introduce my guest at this time. He is the one and only, the incomparable Roadblock. How are you, my friend?
I'm fine, brother. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, my friend. It's really great to connect with you here today. I'm really just excited to learn about your time in professional wrestling and what else you've been up to since then. And I guess the first question on the show I always ask is, before you got into the business, how did you become a fan of professional wrestling?
Well, when I was a little kid, a buddy of mine, God bless his soul, just passed away during the COVID here. We would be in his basement and we would set up like a little wrestling ring, and we would, act out wrestling different wrestlers like Chief White or Chief Thunder Mountain or Chief White Owl. I don't know if you remember Chief White Owl back in the day. Dominic DeNucci, all them guys back in the day. And, after that, we watch it every weekend. And then I ended up going to school, and I ended up, wrestling in junior high school, college. And, I just loved wrestling. You know what I mean? And, but that's how I got started into watching wrestling. You know what I mean? When I was a little kid, and a buddy of mine, we just watched it and we loved it. You know what I mean?
That's cool. Yeah. And I guess, you're a kid when you become a fan. At what age do you, get to where you start to grow and you start to get taller and taller? How was that for you in high school and all that, becoming the big kid?
Well, actually, brother, I was born 10 pounds, 11 ounces, like 23 inches. So my mother said I looked like I was a 1-year-old in the infantry, where the babies were. And I was always big my whole life. I was pretty much skinny, but I was always big, And I've never wrestled anything other than unlimited and heavyweight from junior high school, college. So I don't even know what it is to lose weight to wrestle, where these other guys, they got to suck 5 pounds, 6 pounds, a pound, but I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. It's
incredible. I think you're the tallest person I've had on the show. Is it correct that you're 6'10"?
6'7".
6'7". Okay. Sometimes the internet can change things around a little bit.
They might want to put the boot, because the boots, the heels of the boots maybe 2-3 inches. So, but yeah, 6'7", legitimately 6'7".
Right. Okay. Still, that's very, very tall. That's taller than Michael Jordan. So that is very tall. Okay. So you do the actual legitimate freestyle. Is it freestyle wrestling that you did in school?
Collegiate. Freestyle was more like Olympic style, Greco-Roman in that.
Right. My knowledge on it isn't very big. Australia isn't very well known for its it's not even a sport that you can do at school. In high school, wrestling is not a thing over here, at least where I'm from anyway. But so my knowledge isn't very big on it. But I guess you're doing this style of wrestling as well. Are you still a fan as you growing up, or do you kind of fall away from it a little bit here and there?
Well, to be honest with you, when I got into college, because I wrestled in college, the local community college here, I got far away from it. Far away from it. I didn't even get into it at all. I didn't watch it at all. And I ended up starting to watch it, I'm going to say probably when I got to be probably around my mid-20s. You know what I mean? When it started becoming real popular, when WrestleMania first started, you know what I mean? WrestleMania 1 and that's when I started to get into it a little bit because, you know, a lot of people started getting into it. We'd have little WrestleMania parties. Okay, come on, let's get together, watch the pay-per-view. Other than that, I didn't, get into it until I got older, which probably made a, impact on my professional wrestling career as far as, everything.
Right, I see. Now, there was a story I read somewhere, and my friend Adam, he's from the US, big wrestling fan. I told him that I had made contact with you, and he got very excited, and he told me a story that he heard about. There was a story of you jumping a guardrail as a fan during a Hulk Hogan one-man gang match, and you kind of interfered in the match or something like that. You wanted to prove yourself that, and this is your way of proving yourself to get your shot, get a chance to be a part of the business. Is this true?
It's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Because like I said, I mean, as I got older, I was like 27 and I said, you know what? I'd like to give the wrestling a shot. Well, let me back up a little bit here. Because when I was in college wrestling, I wrestled and I took it really serious. I mean, that was, I loved it. I lived to the wrestling because that was just, something that I loved doing. And while I was in college, I had a successful wrestling career. I mean, I'm in the Hall of Fame college, NCAA Region 3. I'm in the Hall of Fame there for wrestling. I'm in the high school Hall of Fame for a regional section. And not the wrestling coach, but the director of the phys ed department came up to me when I was wrestling in college. And he said, "Hey, Joe," he says, "would you like to get into professional wrestling? I got a connection for you. I know somebody, I could help you." And being a college and high school and collegiate wrestling, and knowing that wrestling was more entertainment than the actual wrestling, I felt, nah, I don't want to do that. I'm going to make a fool out of myself and look, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I let it go. And then, like I said, years later, I said, you know what, man, there's a lot of opportunities here, and I really didn't have a 9-to-5 job. I'm trying to do something a little different or whatever, and I said to myself, let me give this a shot, So I wrote letters to the WWF. I wrote letters to WCW, NWA, and I sent them my resume, everything. And I just got totally ignored. I called, I kept getting hung up on. And I said, man, I got to do something here. So I went to the local gym the day that Hulk Hogan and actually Brutus Beefcake work out at. And I went there and I went to talk to Brutus Beefcake because I said, I don't know about talking to Hogan. He might be, So I went to Brutus, and Brutus basically blew me off. He said, "Brother, I don't know anything. I can't help you. I'm working out." I said, okay, no problem. And then I went to Hulk and I said, "Yo, Hulk, can you help me out?" And he said, "Brother, no one helped me get into business. I did this all on my own." Okay, so he brewed me too. So I said to myself, well, I got to do what I planned on doing, was to jump in the ring. That way I'll get some attention. I'll get something, you know what I mean? And so what happened was I went there by myself. I sat there in the stands and I'm saying to myself, I'm going to jump in the ring, but who do I jump in the ring against? I can't jump in the ring against the smallest guy because I look like a fool being my size. I said, I don't want to jump in the ring against Hulk Hogan because people will probably start throwing tomatoes at me and I'll get booed out of the arena because you know how Hogan was over like, So I said, I got to get a big guy. And I said, oh my goodness, the one-man gang. Now this guy here, brother, he's 6'10". He weighed probably a good close to 500 pounds. He was huge. And I said to myself, I'm sitting there. And I realized that it was him against Hogan that night for the main event. And it was a TV taping. And I seen him walking out into the ring. And it was just funny that he said like this with his hands, come on, with both of his hands, come on. Somebody wants some of this? Come on. And brother, my adrenaline started pumping so hard and so fast. I jumped up and I ran down, got to the ring. I jumped under the barricades and here we are face to face. Now we get into the ring. I get into the ring. You know, I'm standing face to face with him. He's like, I don't know, probably about this much taller than me. You know what I mean? He's big man. Not that I'm a little guy, but you know. And so I didn't know what I was going to do because I felt that if I pre-planned anything and it didn't go the way I want, now I'm back to plan A. I don't know what the heck I'm going to do. So I said, let me go with the flow and let me go amateur on him. You see what I mean? Because I wrestled amateur my whole life. So, brother, I went to go and do actually kind of like a wrestling move. I went to go do pick him up, you know, double leg. And, brother, he just wasn't going anywhere. He's like concrete. So I did a Navy on him where you slide your one leg behind him and your other arm, you slip it in between his crotch and you just drive. And I drove. I put him down onto the mat and my stupid ass, excuse my French, I jumped on him and I'm pinning him. I'm laying on him like pinning him. And I'm looking for the referees to count. And the referee's yelling, security, security. And Slick, I don't know, you remember Slick?
Yeah.
He was the manager, real cool dude. Black hair, wave, always in the suit, real clean. He came over, brother. He started beating me. I mean, beating me with his cane on my back. At that time, you know, when your adrenaline's flowing so high, man, you don't know anything or feel anything. You just pump. So I'm still waiting for somebody to count. And all of a sudden, he grabbed my hair because I had a ponytail back then. He grabbed my hair and you got to go where your hair goes, brother. So he grabbed my hair and I got up. And now him and I are face to face. And it's not like I'm in there to terrorize everybody or anybody. I just wanted to, you know, get seen and known. So I walk Slick to the corner and I just mush him in the face. You know what I mean? Just get away from me. And when I did that, I backed up and I turned around and guess what? There is the one-man gang standing looking at me. I said, holy moly, what am I going to do now? So I start backing up, trying to get my thoughts together. And what happens is my back's to the ropes. Now he's about 3 feet to me and I'm saying, oh my God, now I'm going to have to really figure something out. What happened was the security guards finally got there and they grabbed my ankles from under the rope and they pulled them and I went face first. One man gang, he fell right on me. I don't know if he did that on purpose or what. He did a splash on my back. Boom. Talk about a heavy load. And then they pulled me out and they took me to the back where the other wrestlers were. And I'm trying to think who it was. I think it was Rene Goulet at the time. He was a road agent. He said, brother, what's going on with you? What's wrong with you? I said, I want to get into business. I said, I got my resume in my sock, you know, because I brought a resume with my sock and a rosary, brother, and a rosary. So the Lord would bless me, you know, so I didn't get hurt. And I'm sitting in the chair and he goes, brother, that's not going to do anything for you. And then Billy Jack Haynes, I don't know if you ever heard of Billy Jack Haynes.
Yeah.
Billy Jack Haynes, he's a shooter. You know what I'm talking about, right? He came up to me and he wanted to take me downstairs thinking he was going to, you know, do something to me. I said, brother, just let's go. Let's go. I got no problem with that. And Rene Goulet came over. He said, no. Go about your business, Billy. Go about your business. And because he really wanted to shoot on me. He thought he was going to just kick my backside. You know what I mean? Yeah. And, you know, I was just so ready for whatever was to come. And they took me to the jail and they just, you know, let me out on my own recognizance. And I got like charged with disorderly conduct, 2 charges, one from the arena and one from WWF. And it was WWF at the time. And that's how that whole story happened. And then a guy a couple of days later called me up because I was on the news. I was on the radio. It was in the paper. So, you know, and that's where, you know, I finally started to get into the business. He directed me in Are you still there? There we go.
Yeah.
And he directed me to Larry Sharp, the Monster Factory in New Jersey. And that's where it all, started basically, actually getting into the business.
I think that we're nearing 100 episodes here, Roadblock, and that might be now my favorite story that I've heard. What a whirlwind. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. I am so happy that that was a true story. You never know sometimes with the internet, but that is an amazing story. Okay.
I'll tell you something. Being that I was in the business and I wrestled here and I wrestled there, I've seen guys jump in the ring, but they got pummeled. I mean, the wrestler would not give them a chance. They were on them like, white on rice, if you know what I mean. I mean, they gave them no kind of an opportunity to do anything. And that's really what it's like. I mean, because you don't know the next person that jumps in that ring, what they could possibly do to you, I mean, I'd have hate to bend. I'm going to tell you another story, brother. I'd have hate to bend the one-man gang and somebody jumping on the ring like that on me, you know what I mean? I would have hated to do that. I would have hated that to happen. And it has come close a couple times, but it never really actually happened. I'll tell you something. When I finally got into business and I was just getting ready to leave the Monster Factory, I had an opportunity to go wrestle for WWF, and it was a dark show. No. It was further down the line from there. I ended up coming home. I was living in Japan, and I was the only gaijin there that had a contract with the Japanese wrestling company. It was called SWS. And WWF was the only gaijin company that came over there to wrestle with them.
Okay.
So it was just myself and the WWF. So they came over to Japan, and that's why I met Macho Man and all them guys, and I was there, and Macho said, well, you'll never, you're good. You should, as soon as you get back in the States, let me know. I'll help you out. I said, oh, okay, thanks, Randy. I appreciate it, brother. I just don't think Vince is ever going to let me work for him, knowing that I jumped in the ring on him. But anyways, years later, I went to a show, and I went in there, and here comes, who was it? I'm trying to think. Somebody Slick. Slick noticed me. And he came up to me and go, whoa. He's going back and forth. Whoa, brother, whoa. No. You the mother effer. He said the word, you're the mother effer that jumped in the ring on my boy, on the one man. I said, yeah, I was just trying to get into business, brother. That's all. It wasn't nothing personal. I was just trying to get into business. So he went and got one man gang, and he went and got Trailer. I don't know,
Ray Trailer.
They became part. Who?
Ray Trailer.
Ray Trailer. Yes. One. I can't even remember his. They were partners. You remember they became partners?
Yeah, I think the Twin Towers. I think they were called, or the.
I can't remember what they were called.
Akeem and the Big Boss Man.
Right.
Yeah,
yes.
I know.
But anyways, he came. They both came up to me and said, "Yo, welcome to the business. At least next time we know what we're coming up against." And I said, "Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. It wasn't nothing personal." And that that's how I met them. Actually, you know what I mean? Which was really cool.
That is super cool that it came full circle and you got to meet them again.
Yes, full circle. You're right.
So training with Larry Sharp at the Monster Factory, how was that experience there? We've had a few people on the show that have gone through there. It's a legendary training facility. Please tell me a little bit about it.
Well, man, brother, this is really a tough one to talk about, because I mean, I like Larry Sharp and everything. And when I went to Larry Sharp's Monster Factory, it was at the time when Vince McMahon was trying to deregulate the wrestling and make it just an entertainment business, not a sport, because he wanted to be able to eliminate the athletic commissions and save all the millions of dollars from having to pay the athletic commission. So when I was at Larry Sharp's Monster Factory, it was the most well-known wrestling school in the country. And I ended up being in the right place at the right time for that situation, because I ended up doing an article in Rolling Stone magazine. I did an article in Playboy magazine. I did an article in People magazine. And that was all a blessing and great. And Larry Sharp was a good dude. But as far as training, I really didn't get trained.
Right.
You know, I mean, God bless Larry's soul. He's a good man. You know, he's no longer here, but he didn't have any trainers. And he would get in the ring for 5 minutes and maybe show you a lockup. Or maybe he'll, you know, show you how to hit the ropes. But other than that, he did not show me anything. And, you know, he wanted me to stay there. Maybe one of the reasons why he wasn't training me, because I was there for 3-4 months. You know what I mean? And in them 3-4 months, brother, I was sleeping in the ring. I was sleeping, you know, I rented a room. And it's like, you know, how long am I going to want to keep doing this before I get on the road? You know, I want to learn. You know, I didn't come here to sleep in the ring and not learn nothing. As long as, you know, if I'm sleeping in the ring and I'm learning, okay, that's cool. At least I'm making progress. But it got to the point to where I was there, to the point to where I said, hey, Larry, man, I got to make a move here. And it seemed like he took that personal, like he wanted me to stay there because I was one of the only big guys he had there that was new. And I was able to show other people that are coming there, oh, hey, I got a big guy here that's training now. So, you know, he wants to just keep drawing business, if you know what I mean. Even though behind the closed door, he wasn't really doing any training. The only people that would do any training were the guys that wrestled in his, because he had like a little independent show himself. And that's how he would fulfill his contract with the new wrestlers. Because, you know, he'd train you and then you wrestle one match at his wrestling independent show. And now you're on, you know, you're on your own. But, you know, being in New Jersey, Larry would have a monthly wrestling show. So all the guys that went to his school, if they were still in the area, they would wrestle. And they would come to the school and they would train and wrestle. See what I mean? And then were basically the guys that showed me what I knew, you know, the pit bulls. You know, there was a guy named Chief Thunder Mountain, Hoss. You know, we all wrestled together for WCCW down the line, but you know, nobody, you know, Larry never trained me, if you understand what I mean. And you know, I told him, I said, Larry, I'm leaving. I'm going to Puerto Rico. And he kind of got a little upset with me, but I said, Larry, I mean, what do you want me to do? Just stay here sleeping in your ring for the rest of my, you know, life? I mean. Yeah. So, you know, that's how I basically left. And, you know, we stayed on good terms. We talked and this and that because he brought me back a couple of times to wrestle his independent shows. But as far as, you know, his wrestling school, for me, I really didn't learn much. You know, I felt like, you know, I got the publicity and all this and that. But as far as actually what I went there to do, to learn to wrestle, I really didn't, you know. In fact, what I ended up doing was I ended up going to Puerto Rico and then I ended up going to their office and I ended up working out in their ring, working out with one of their wrestlers, learning more. And then when I went to Japan, I went to their dojo and I worked out with them, you know, but, you know, I learned more from them there, 2 places that I was getting paid to wrestle than I did when I went and paid Larry the money I paid him. Nothing, you know, nothing against Larry, God bless his soul, but that's just the way it was.
No, fair enough. Thank you for sharing that. I had no idea that it was like that at the time. It must have been difficult, you know, because I've noticed in my research, you know, competing in New England and the East Coast independent promotions, you know, during the, you know, the late 80s there, obviously most notably in international world-class championship wrestling as the Rochester Roadblock. How, when you start to get out there and perform in these companies, how difficult is it with such a lack of training going in there to do what it is that you've got to do in the ring?
You try and keep it to the basics, you know what I mean? And you try and do the big man stuff like, clotheslines, body slams, basic stuff, you know what I mean? Because like I said, I wrestled junior high school, college. I knew how to do a lot of different wrestling moves, but, being my size, doing them kind of things, wasn't the ordinary thing to do. And that would take away from my size, if you understand what I mean. But, it was a challenge at times. And I think that made an impact on my longevity as far as, my success in the business, you know what I mean? Because I never was a main eventer or anything as far as with the major companies here, WCW or, WWF, but, that made a difference, I think. I think also me jumping in the ring gave a lot of guys a sour taste too, you know what I mean? The business, you know what I mean? Because, I kind of disrespected the business, I guess you could say, in a way. You know what I mean? Which I understand. And that, but do I regret that I did that? Not at all. Because I feel that was the only way I was able to get into the business. Because, I was shunned so much, Exactly.
You tried to go the route that you felt was the smart way of going, asking for someone for help, and they were giving you nothing. So you had to do what you had to do, as far as I'm concerned. You hear a lot of stories about someone just getting discovered in a gym, Barry Windham going up to Scott Hall and saying, do you want to get in the business, bro? Come meet me and so this weekend, and we got a ring. That, how helpful is that? And then
prime example, brother, a prime example. This is the cream of the crop right here that'll explain that. Bill Goldberg, brother. Bill Goldberg never paid a due in his life in the wrestling, brother. Bill Goldberg never drove from Rochester, New York to Buffalo, New York to pay a due, which is only 60 miles, if you understand what I'm saying. Bill Goldberg trained to be a wrestler, and right from outside the gate, from the wrestling school, he went to the top. Never paid a due in his life. And don't get me wrong about Bill Goldberg. Coolest dude I met in the business. Maybe he was humble because he was just seeing and realized what his potential was and what was coming his way. So maybe that's the reason why he was humble and a nice guy to me, because I was his third match. out of all his professional matches. My good brother, Hugh Morris, was his very first match. And then his second match was the Barbarian. And then I was his third match. And our third match, the match that him and I were having, brother, he was greener than the grass, to the point to where he didn't know anything. And, just like Hugh Morris and just like Barbarian, myself, walked him right through that match. I walked him through that match. You know what I mean? My job, brother, was to get him over. I have no problem doing my job. I'm a team player. You know what I mean? Did it help me out? I don't know, but I'm blessed that I was able to do what I did and have been where I've been. Not that I've been somewhere, some guys, but hey, I'm there to do what I got to do. You know what I mean? But
absolutely,
like I'm saying, Bill Goldberg never paid a due in his life, and he's the most blessed wrestler that ever strapped up a pair of boots. And look at where he is. You know what I mean? So, I paid dues. Listen to this, Cal. I drove from Rochester, New York to Prescott, Maine, which is a 20-hour ride, brother, in the middle of a winter. You don't get winter there, do you? You get winter there?
Oh, yeah, we get winter, yeah.
You get snow?
Not snow, just rain.
Okay, we had like 2 foot of snow. It was the middle of the winter. I drove, and the further north you go up, because Maine is north of New York.
Right.
And Prescott is just almost right to Canada. Brother, it was a snowstorm. 20-hour ride, brother, from here. $50. $50. Brother, it cost me more to eat. Gas, tolls. You know what I mean? But I felt, this is a part of me having to pay my dues and this and that. And, it is what it is. I'm blessed regardless. I mean, if I was to do it over again, I would, but I would do some things different. It wouldn't, and I'm not saying that I wouldn't have jumped in the ring again, but from that point on, I think I would have did some things different. You know what I mean? Whether it would have got me over more or not, or, that's, can't cry about that now, but I'm blessed, man.
I understand, and I'm happy to hear that. I wanted to bring up Puerto Rico because I noticed in my research, the 10th of June, 1990, you worked for Capital Sports at the Juan Lubriel Stadium in Bayamon, Puerto Rico, in a loss to Carlos Colon for the Universal Heavyweight title. How was your experience there in Puerto Rico? How did you find working for and against Carlos?
Brother, let me tell you something. Puerto Rico is different than any place that I've ever wrestled, in the sense that Puerto Rico does not have ringside seats. They have a barricade way around the ring.
Right.
And most of their arenas are basketball arenas, and they have a 20-foot fence around the ring, so nobody can get to the ring. Brother, let me tell you something. Puerto Rico, I loved it, but it was the most dangerous place to wrestle, because I would walk to the ring, and on my way to the ring to get inside that there, to the ring, to the, the fence and that, I had a 14-year-old kid run up to me with a shank. He wanted to try and stab me. Luckily, I had my roadblock, and I seen him out of the corner of my eyes, and I went to act like I was going to hit him with the roadblock, and he backed off. Security, brother, there's only 2 security guards there, and there's 3,000 people. I mean, brother, they sell spark plugs and little rocks outside the La Cancha, the arena. They throw them at you. They pee in a cup. They throw it at you. They do blow darts. I mean, brother, it was a challenge, man. But the adrenaline rush to be there and wrestle, it was like no other. I loved it. I really did. A lot of guys won't go back there because of that situation and because of the Bruiser Brody deal. Mm-hmm. But yeah. I loved it. And actually, that was the first place that they were huge on bleeding. Huge on bleeding. You know what I mean? And tonight you got a color. They're telling me I got a color tonight. I say, color? Oh, man, I don't color. No, you got a color. And I had to do what I had to do. Again, I'm a team player, and, I did what I had to do. That was the first time I ever had the color. But Carlos Colon, he, again, I was green because I was just coming out of the wrestling school, going to Puerto Rico. I wish I would have been a little bit more experienced and a little more knowledge, because I know I could have had a real good run with Carlos, but, it was a learning experience. And, we wrestled in Salina. That's Carlos Colon's hometown. Brother, it's so bad there because he's over like a 4-leaf clover, like Hulk Hogan in Puerto Rico, that as we were leaving the arena, walking to the van, because they pick us up at the hotel to take us to the van, drive through the, Puerto Rico. I was getting pelted with rocks in the back of the head. We finally got into the van, And brother, they all started shaking the van like they were trying to turn it, tip it over. I mean, they were just rocking the van, man, because, we were all the heels. We were the guys from the States or wherever. We weren't from Puerto Rico. And we all driving the van together, every night that we had to wrestle. And I mean, Puerto Rico, I can tell you stories and stories of Puerto Rico is just, I love Puerto Rico. Even though I wrestled in Japan and Mexico, I loved Japan the most. Mexico was nice, but man, Puerto Rico was the worst, but I loved it more than all of them. I loved it.
What is something that you loved most about Puerto Rico?
The rush, you know what I mean? Adrenaline rush. Yeah. It was a constant rush. You know what I mean? It was like a natural high, brother. You know what I mean? Every night was something different. I'm trying to think what his name was. Buddy Landau. Have you ever heard of Buddy Landau?
Yeah.
Buddy Landau. We were leaving an arena going back home. Buddy Landau told the driver, pull over. We're on the expressway. Buddy Landau says, pull the van over. I got to take a piss. I said, buddy, what are you, crazy, brother? You got to wait till we get to the bathroom. There's nothing but road here. Brother, don't tell me. I've been here many times. Brother, we're going to get in trouble. I'm telling you, you're going to cause a situation. Brother, don't tell me. I've been all around the world. I've been here many. Okay. So the guy pulled over on the side of the road on the expressway. He takes a leak. He gets in the van. We drive past the one toll booth, and I'm in the back seat. I see there's a police car following us. We drive past another toll booth. Here's another police car. And now all of a sudden we're driving and the police cars pull us over with the alarm, with their sirens. The police get out of their car, brother, with their shotguns jacked and pointing at the van. And they walk to the van and they say, yo, now here goes Buddy Landau again. Yo, anybody speaks Espanol? And Buddy Landau says, no, senor, no Espanol, no, senor. Dummy, you're speaking Spanish now. And so we said, no, we don't speak Spanish. He wants to learn Spanish. So anyways, the state trooper said, what are you guys doing here? Because he spoke broken English. And Buddy Landau said, lucha libre. Again, he's speaking Spanish. Lucha libre, Carlos Colon. Oh, Carlitos Colon? Yeah. Okay, no problem. They put their guns down. They said, hey, this is a family expressway here. You got kids, you got women. You can't just pull over here and do what you did. You got to wait, get to a bus stop or something. You just can't do it. So we ended up leaving. Oh, buddy, you've been all around the world, huh? You know it all, huh? You didn't want to say nothing. Hell with you, Roadblock. But, and that was one. And then there was another one where when I first got there, I was a baby face. And I tagged up with this dude. He was like a legitimate 7-footer. I can't remember his name right on hand. I can't remember his name. He never wrestled for WCW, WWF. He always did the independents or Puerto Rico. I can't remember his name. But anyways, we were tag team partners, and somebody that was supposed to come in as a heel never made it. So they said, well, we're going to have to turn somebody heel. And who do they turn heel? Me. That's okay, no problem. So I turned heel, and I turned on the big guy in the middle of a match. We had like a tag team match going, and I turned on my partner. Brother, I caused a riot in the arena. I caused a riot because up in the stands, up top, people were fighting, and then they were calling me all kinds of names because that's one thing you don't do. You don't change up and turn on somebody, you know what I mean? You're supposed to be their partner. And they took, brother, let me tell you something. You go to Puerto Rico and say wrestling is fake, you got a problem on your hands, man. They take that like to heart. It's no joke there. They don't even consider it entertainment. They take that, like it's some serious stuff. But anyways, I got out of the ring and I'm flipping them off like this. I want to get my heat. And then I turn around, brother, the 30-pound barrels, like the metal barrels, 30-pound metal barrels were, I turned around and one was flying at me. luckily I'd seen it. God bless me, man, because I ducked and I got out of there. I went and sat in the locker room. Everybody's gone. Everybody's gone. People are outside. I go to walk outside and they're waiting for me. Just me. I had to wait for the state troopers this time to come there and get me out of there, to get me to my van so I could leave. Because they wanted to literally kill me, you know? And then there was one more, I'll tell you. I mean, I could go on and on with this, but there's one more. I was there. We were doing a TV taping on a Tuesday night. And this one kid, he was my manager. And he was a heel manager. And he was trying to get his heat. And the lady, I told him, brother, be careful, man, because they throw everything, man. They'll throw everything, and they're good. They're good shooters. I'm telling you, man, like they must have some kind of training camp there where they shoot shit at you, you know, because they're good. They'll hit you. So anyways, the ref or my manager, he's getting them all pissed off, doing this, well, you know, saying things in Spanish, you know, bite me, a cucaracha, you know, like a cockroach for Puerto Ricans. And I said, brother, be careful, man. They're going to throw things at you. And he said, okay, brother, I'm okay. I'll be okay. And as he turned around, an old lady, she had an ice cube. She threw it, hit him in the eyeball, and he was done. He was all done. His eye filled up with blood. He had to go to the emergency. He was done for about a week. I said, brother, I told you, man, they do not play around here, man. But I mean, I see what I mean as far as the adrenaline rushes that you know what I mean? It was just such a adrenaline rush. I loved it. I loved it, man.
Amazing. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing all of that with me. I'm having so much fun listening to these stories. 1991, you head to Super World Sports in Japan. So how did the opportunity come about? And you mentioned before it was quite the learning experience for you, because you get to work with the likes of the great Kabuki, Chris Adams, King Haku, Kendo Nagasaki, Hercules, Paul Roma, Tito Santana. There's a whole bunch of guys there at the time. And as you mentioned before, there was a connection with New York and Super World Sports. So please tell me about how you got there and just the experience of being in Japan for the very first time.
Well, you know, something in the business that you don't do, you don't want to try and burn any bridges because you want to be able to tomorrow, you know what I mean? And that's anything really. You don't want to try and burn any bridges because you don't know what tomorrow may be or come. But while I was in Puerto Rico, I met this super nice guy. God bless him too. His name was Victor Quinones. And Victor Quinones had a connection with Kendo Nagasaki. And Kendo Nagasaki had the connection with the SWS, Super World Sports. And they were looking for new talent to come over there because they were just starting that company up, just starting it. There was a billionaire over there, the Japanese guy. His name was Mr. Tanaka. Super nice guy. He's a billionaire. And, you know, the wrestling, he wanted to sponsor a wrestling company. So he started up SWS. And so Victor Quinones asked me, hey, Roadblock, you want to go to Japan? You know, it's like only like a 2-3 day trip. I mean, at least you get the experience and you see what it's like and you don't know what happens from there. I said, absolutely. So I got all my stuff together and Lord and behold, you know, in the wrestling business, you don't get excited about going because, you know, oh, we're going to Europe, we're going to Australia, we're going here, we're going there, to get your hopes all up, and there's no ticket. So I didn't get my hopes up until I went to the mail and seen my airline ticket. I'm going to Japan for 2-3 days. So what happened was I went over there, we wrestled, and they were just starting out. This was like their second show. And I said, and I got to meet a dude by the name of Beef Wellington. I don't know if you ever heard of him or not. Beef Wellington? Yeah. Yeah. He's a Canadian dude, real super nice guy. And I thank him, man. I never got the chance to because I never seen him after that. But he said, yo, Roadblock, man, these people here, they have a dojo they love gaijins, foreigners, and they'll train you and they'll pay you to train you. I said, they pay you to train you? He says, yeah. He says, just ask Kendo Nagasaki. So I talked to Kendo Nagasaki. I say, hey, Kendo, I'd really like to come over here to Japan and train if that's okay, if it's possible, and they'll allow me to. He said, Roadblock, let me get back to you and I'll let you know. And so I did my tour there for the 2-3 days, and probably within 3-4 months, he's called me up and said, yo, they want to give you a contract to come over there for 6 months, train and wrestle. And you're all set. So that March, I ended up going to Japan. The only bad thing about Japan, brother, was every time I went to Japan, something bad happened to me. You know what I mean? But other than that, I mean, Japan is the most beautiful place. I'd go over there and live. Believe me, I'd live there if I could. But anyways, I went over there and wrestled for 6 months. And my first tour over there as being there for 6 months, signing the contract, they told me, they said, well, you beat WWF to the punch as far as signing this contract with us, because just after we signed the contract and agreement with you, we signed an agreement with WWF to have them come over exclusively, just them and no other gaijins. But we had to tell them, and we told them that you would be the only gaijin here because you're going to, the training, the dojo and this and that, and, you'll be here for 6 months. And they said, okay. And so, I was there for 6 months and I trained. They didn't treat me like a green boy, a guy, you know what I mean? They didn't treat me like I was just starting out. They left it up to me to come there and train every morning. And I did. They put me in a dojo house with the green boys in there. And, I started out in the business a little late. I was 31, 32, you know what I mean, at this time. And what happened was the owner, he owned 2-3 hotels, or apartment complexes and eyeglass company. And he said, here, we're going to give you your own apartment. And so they put me in my own apartment, but I still made it to the dojo every morning, man. Every morning I made it to the dojo to train. And I'll tell you something, man, over in Japan, there's nowhere in the world where they treat their wrestlers that are getting into the business like, man, I don't know how to explain what the word it would be. What you get there, brother, you clean the gym. After you clean the gym and mop every damn mat in the gym, you end up working out. You do 100 push-ups, you do 100 sit-ups, you run 2-3 miles. You get in that ring for 3 hours and you work out and you work out and you work out. You do 100 back drops. And then when you're done doing that, brother, listen to this one. And this is no kidding, man. I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't see it. Old timers would come there and, work out a little bit here and there. You know what I mean? Get in the ring with the boys in there or lift weights. When they got done working out, brother, they tell the green boy that just got done working out and training for 3 hours, come over here and give me a body massage. And they go over there and massage the veterans for an hour until they got tired. And then when they got done working out, they'd mop the floors again. And then they would have an hour to lay down and sleep and take it easy, eat lunch. And then after that, they'd end up going and lifting weights for another 2-3 hours. And brother, this went on 5 days a week. They'd get to the dojo at 9 in the morning. They wouldn't leave till 5 at night. They didn't treat me like that. Why? I don't know. But I thank God they didn't. And they left it up to me, to put my time in. And I did put my time in. Did I get over there real hard and heavy, as far as wrestling? No, I didn't. But again, that's my fault. You know what I mean? That was my fault because I should have been more successful with that company than I was. But I think WWF had part to do with it because, again, I jumped in the ring on them. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it seemed like any time that they had a chance to knock me down a notch or two, okay, he's going to be here, but we ain't going to put him over like we could because of what he did to us. You see what I mean? Right. But it is what it is. And again, I could think of, the bad in that, but I'm blessed, man. I got to look at the positive and say, hey, man, it's all good. It was a good experience. And I tell you, man, I love Japan. I went back, like I said, like probably 2-3 more times after that. And I just stopped going over there because, it seemed like every time I went over there, the first time I went over there, there was a snowstorm here in Rochester, New York. It was like 1 inch of ice on every branch in the city, and the whole city was shut down because a snowstorm is different than an ice storm. Snowstorm, you just plow it, but the ice, brother, there's nothing. You can't do nothing because the roads are all ice and you didn't have no electricity. I mean, so they shut everything down. The airports, they couldn't leave. So that was that time. The other time I was getting ready to leave, we had a delay over in Detroit, and 2 planes hit each other on the runway. Not major damage, but they still collided. And that was a big delay. And then the last time I went over there, I flew over there, and just as I got over there, like you're 12 hours difference from me. So I flew over there, and now here it is, 12 hours difference. And I call my house or back home, and I find out how my dad was, because my dad was really, really, really sick. And my mother said he has a death rattle and he's not going to make it. So I had to tell the promoter, yo, man, I'm not going to be able to wrestle. I got to go back home. So I flew to Japan, called my parents or my mom, and told me that my dad was getting ready to pass. So I had to fly back home. It's like I just got on the plane to fly there and fly back home. And that was the last time I went, and they offered me to come back there a couple other times, but it was just, I didn't want to have to deal with you know what I mean?
I understand. Absolutely. I noticed in my research, I was doing some searching for some matches on YouTube, saw a great match between you and Tugboat. I just want to ask, how did you enjoy working with him? Because, 2 big guys going at it. I thought that was, you guys really worked well together.
Yeah, I thought we had an okay match. I thought I should have got a little bit more out of there. I think we could have stretched it out a little bit longer. But again, I think, the WWF didn't want me to do too much or let Tugboat allow too much to go on because of, what I've done to them. You know what I mean? Right. And Tugboat's a big guy too now. I mean, he was a little bit bigger than me, and he was a super nice guy. Tugboat, that was a pretty good match. Not bad. You know what I mean? It was short, but it was what it was. And I had fun working with him. Awesome, bro.
So there are going to be a whole bunch of random matches that I bring up during this interview. And another one in, I think you pronounce it as Clementon, New Jersey, 28th of March, 1992. You worked with Kamala. Just wanted to know what that experience was like.
That was a beautiful experience because Kamala was not only a taker, he was a giver too. And this was the independence. Again, this was for Larry Sharp, actually. I believe this was with Larry Sharp, or was this with WCCW? I can't remember which were the two because WCCW was out of New Jersey too. So I can't remember which one of the two, but Kamala was a super nice guy, man. Super nice guy,
I'm just going to do a little search here on the internet to see if I can find who it was for, just so we know.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. WWA.
WWA.
World Wrestling Association, Clementon, New
Jersey. That was Larry Sharp's independent show, WWA. Yeah, that was with Kamala. I was right the first time, right?
You were.
yeah. It's been a long time, brother. I mean, man, I haven't wrestled, man, since 99, 20, what? How many years ago is that? 20 what? Wow, 23 years ago? Something like that, 22 years ago.
Yeah, 22 years.
Yeah, brother. I mean, I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. I mean, I see a lot of, buddies that like, for an example, when I wrestled WCW, everything's clicky. You know, I don't want to take you off. You know, I'm sure you got a set program, but I don't want to take you off. Okay. WCW, everything was clicky. You know what I mean? In fact, all the wrestling companies are clicky. You know, you're in that clique, or you're in this clique, or you're in that clique, or you're in this clique. I was in a clique where we were called the Tri-State Boys because it was New Jersey, New York. You know what I mean? And anyways, it was Hugh Morris, myself, Johnny Grunge, and Rocco Rock, you know, Public Enemy.
Yeah.
And all four of us guys, we were like brothers, man. We all got the same tattoo on the back. Hold on, maybe I could. Can you see me?
I can.
I don't know if you can see the
I can see
tattoo.
it.
Yeah, all four of us, brother. All four of us went there in Florida. We all got the same tattoo. It was a heart, or it was a cross. And we all called ourselves the Loyal Order of the Chubba Bubbas, LOCB. And I'll tell you a funny joke about that. And the four of us all got our tattoos. Now, like I said, everything's clicky. The Mexicans did the same thing. They went and all got the tattoos of the crosses on their backs too. You know, Rey Mysterio. Oh man, I can't even think of the names of the Mexican guys. I mean, there's just so many of them. But anyways. You know, and Chris Jericho, he didn't get the tattoo on his back, but he became a subsidiary Loyal Order of the Chubba Bubbas too. He was like one of our members too, you know what I mean? Not full-fledged, but, you know, because it was just a cool thing that, you know. So Chris Jericho was a part of the Chubba Bubba thing too. Not that we all hung out like that, because Chris Jericho was in the clique with Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, himself, and God bless Chris Benoit.
Right,
you know,
of course.
That was their clique.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like I said, you know, everything was a click, 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 click. And it was all good, man. It was a great time.
That's super cool to hear about. And I will be getting to some WCW questions very soon. I need to bring this up because you did allude to it before with the situation with One Man Gang and Slick. 29th of June 1992. It's a dark match for WWF Superstars. You defeat Brian Costello on that show. I don't know if you worked any other dark matches for the company around that time. Is this the show that you were at where you had that full circle meeting again with One Man Gang?
Who did I have the dark match with?
The name was Brian Costello.
Brian Costello.
Just he's a.
And this was with WWF or WCW?
WWF. You were known as the Golden Retriever.
No, that's not me.
That's not you. I see.
No.
Okay, I found the first thing that's incorrect. Excellent. Okay, cool. That's good. That's good. Because there are a few other things that I've already uncovered that aren't true, which I'm happy about, because then I can fix up your Wikipedia article.
What other? Mind me asking, what are a couple things that you've seen that wasn't true? Because I'll tell you something, brother. They have me on Facebook, or I don't know, or Wikipedia or whatever. Then I'm 70 years old. Then I was born 10 years prior. I was born in 1950. Brother, I was born in 1960. I mean, you know, I'm blessed. I'm 60, 61 years old here, but I'm not no damn 10 years older. And they had this on social media 20, 30 years ago. So I'm just curious. Yeah.
It said that you came back to wrestling in 2008 and you wrestled for 4 years.
My last match was Independence with Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge with a guy named Joe that was a promoter in Youngstown, Ohio. I did it like about, I don't know, maybe a year, because I left WCW in 98.
Yeah.
And I went and did the Independence for several months, almost a year after that. And I just, I stopped because, you know, I was going on 40 years old, right? I was almost 40 years old. I was 39, and I got a job. I was working for the city of Rochester when I wasn't wrestling. And I kept that job just as far as for backup security and, something to fall back on, because I tell you something, man, a lot of wrestlers, man, after they get done to where they can't wrestle no more, or they don't have anything to fall back on during a hard, tough situation. I mean, look at Bobby Eaton and, the list could go on where, they didn't have nothing to fall back on, didn't have any money. And I'm blessed because, brother, next year at this time, I'm retiring. I'll have, 29 years in with the New York State retirement system, because I worked for a juvenile facility before I got into wrestling, and 25 years, working with the city while wrestling and this and that, you know what I mean? So Lord willing, I'll retire next year with a pension and my Social Security, and I don't have to worry about, where I'm going to get my next meal. Thank God, man. So,
that is awesome.
I'm blessed, man. I'm really, truly blessed each and every day, man.
I'm very happy to hear that. Okay, so we've uncovered some untruths there, which is excellent. That's another great thing I like having on the show, is to ensure that the truth is out there about everybody that I've had on the show. So I did want to bring up you going back to Japan again. We're almost at WCW here, but wrestling for Wing, the Wrestling International New Generations, as Masked Inferno, I believe is the name that you utilized there. You worked with some other notable names, Kevin Sullivan, Jason the Terrible, Mil Mascaras, and even a match that I was like, I can't believe this, a fire death match with Eric Embry. Please tell me about any experiences that you had there that, you might be notable to bring up on the show.
It said that I had a fire match with Eric Embry.
Yeah.
Maybe they wanted to, but I didn't. No. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. No, because I'm not. I don't have a problem with some gimmicks. You know what I mean? But I'm not into all that gimmicky stuff. The explosions, the tacks, the barbed wire. I mean, they were, brother. Let me tell you something, man. Some of these guys, they have a couple loose nuts and screws upstairs, because you're not going to hit me with a barbed wire bat with barbed wire on it. Dude, this is a business. I'm not here, this isn't, no, this isn't Mad Max. You know what I mean? I mean, I take my hat off to Mick Foley. I wrestled Mick Foley when I was in WCW, in the beginning of my career. Mick Foley's he's a hell of a man. He's a better man than I am as far as to do the things that he's done. You know what I mean? And he really was one that brought hardcore wrestling to the surface, if you know what I mean, and to the mainstream, WWE, brother. I mean, God bless him. He's a bad man, but he's paying for it now, but, and see, that's the thing that Wing was all about. Wing figured they wanted to put asses in seats, and FWM or MFW, Onita,
FMW, yeah.
FMW, Onita, he was drawing crowds over there, brother, like no other. He was taking, the wild side of the Japanese and bringing them to watch his wrestling, because Japanese people are very, very laid back. And I'll tell you the difference, not to swerve off of this here conversation, but the difference between going to a Japanese wrestling match and going to Puerto Rico or Mexico wrestling match. Puerto Rico, that's a night out of, going out like a Friday night, having the ball and having fun. You know what I mean? To go watch wrestling, because they take it real there. In Mexico, it's more, somewhat that way, but they're more laid back. They'll clap and cheer, but they don't get out of hand like Puerto Rico. Even though in Mexico they'll throw coins at you and hit you in the head, and them their dollars, they don't feel good, man, in the back of the head. But anyways, you go to a wrestling match in Japan, brother, it's like going a night at the opera. They all wear suits. I mean, brother, they just sit there and they clap. Oh, when there's a high spot, they just clap. Oh, real quiet. But then they start changing up, because you remember the Bushwhackers?
Yeah.
The Bushwhackers were over there, and they're two cool dudes too, man. I wrestled with them a couple times too in the independents. But anyways, when the Bushwhackers came over to Japan to wrestle with the WWF, when I was over there, like I said, it's like going the night at the opera in Japan, but there was this little section over in the corner where when the Bushwhackers came out and they do their, their arms up and down like that, right?
Yeah.
If you look over in that little section, there was a group of like maybe 20, 30 people doing the same thing. Oh. And that was just so funny and hilarious because it was like, Nigga, look at this. The American style is starting to change the style of Japanese. And to get back to Onita, that brought a whole different kind of a crew, a new generation of Japanese. So Victor Quinones was one of the partners with Wing. And he figured, what the heck, man? He was from Puerto Rico and he knows hardcore because, Puerto Rico is tough, man. And he wanted to put some asses and take away some of or he wanted to get some of the fans that are coming to the FWM. You know what I mean? And that's why he went hardcore and did the Wing. I wrestled there for him. I did one tour over there for him, and I really wasn't into it. And I'll tell you something. There was one. Here's how messed up it is over in Japan, man. When you're a green boy and you're a veteran, a green boy didn't say anything. Looked at one of the veterans' girlfriends. Just looked at her, brother. Just looked at her. And the veteran seen that. He got in the ring that night, and it was time for the young boy to color. And the young boy didn't know how to color, so the veteran said, I'll color you. Brother, he sliced him from here to here. Skin was hanging. You know what I mean? All because he looked at his girl. You know what I mean? I said, dude, why'd you do that, man? He no look at my girl no more. Brother, that's your girlfriend here, but you got away from Puerto Rico. I said, well, I mean, that young boy didn't want nothing to do with it. I mean, he's scared to death of you. But anyways, that was, just one incident that, but I wrestled for Wing because Victor Quinones, and I did that tour because, he looked out for me. He's the one that helped me get into Mexico. He's the one that helped me get into Japan. And I felt that I owed that to him, at least, to go over there and wrestle for his company that he was just starting out, even though that was not my style.
Fair enough. Thank you for letting me know about all that. That's I just love all that information. It's really good.
I'm not carrying on too much, am I, for you?
No, I'm loving it. This is great. And speaking of Mexico, we're so close to WCW here, but speaking of Mexico, you wrestled there as Torre Infernal, which is known as the Infernal Tower in the UWA in 92, 93. You feud with El Connect. Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah, El Connect. Actually, I don't know. Can you see the mask?
Yes.
The one on over here, that's Connect. That's Rey Mysterio. That's the Villanos. And the bottom one here is me when I was wrestling as the Tower Inferno.
Right. Amazing.
Yeah, Mexico.
Really cool.
Mexico was a tradition of wearing masks because I guess they didn't want their identity to be shown, and Connect was a hell of a guy. Connect was a good worker. I liked him, and I wrestled with Mil Mascaras there. We did like a double because and the other difference in Mexico is that I don't know if you're familiar with it or not. They do a series of wrestling. They do the best out of three.
Of course.
Hold on here. Okay. They do a series, the best out of three.
Yeah.
And hold on a second. Hold on.
No worries.
Hold on. Somebody's trying to call me. I got to ignore. But anyways, I love Mexico, and it was different. I loved it though. I loved it. Every arena that I wrestled in Mexico was like what do you call it? Where they do the bullfighting arena.
Yeah.
But I love Mexico and Connect. He was the how can I say it? I'll tell you the situation with Connect and I don't know. I'm just waiting for that. Can you hear that beeping?
Yeah.
It's a buddy of mine calling me, and I'm trying to ignore him right now because I'm talking to you. I'm waiting for it to stop. Let me see. There we go. All right. I'm back with you?
Yeah.
Okay. They said Mexico, they get into the bleeding too. You know what I mean? Not like Puerto Rico, but they do a little. And they said they were trying to build connecting me up for a main event. That's, you know what I mean? That's what they brought me there for. And so Connect and I were going at it. And he said, yo, brother, you got a color tonight. I said, what? He said, you got a color. I said, oh, man, I don't like the color. I can't get it. He says, I'll do you a favor. I'll do it for you. I said, what? He says, I'll color you. I said, oh, man, are you serious? He says, I won't hurt you. I said, well, okay. All right. I'm gonna believe you and trust you because we had that kind of a, relationship. So we were wrestling. Then we get into, he gets me in the corner and he's starting to beat me, hit me. And then all of a sudden he like bites me on the forehead and he sticks the razor in my forehead and turns it. No big deal. No problem. And then what he does is he covers my nose and mouth like this with both hands holding it so the blood will gush out. Yeah. Dude, I'm starting to have trouble breathing. I'm saying, what the hell? So I threw him probably halfway across the ring because I couldn't breathe. And when I did that, he got up and looked at me and he laughed and he said, oh, meaning that because I was coloring real good now, the blood was gushing out. And I said, you know what? I trusted that dude, man. And I got a little dent in my head because I don't have a lot of marks because I wasn't really a colorer. Because brother, let me tell you something. There's guys in the business, man. There's these two brothers. They're called the headhunters. Yeah. They're from the Caribbean, brother. They died to color every night. They wanted to color every single night. I mean, I'm just not into the coloring, man. I don't have a problem. I do it if I got it, but anyways, I love Mexico. Mexico was cool. I'll tell you something about Mil Mascaras. You want to hear a story about Mil Mascaras?
Yes, please.
Mil Mascaras was so protective of his gimmick and his identity that we would wrestle. We would get in the van, brother. Listen to this now. We would get in the van at 10 o'clock in the morning, and there would be nothing but the boys in the van driving 3-4 hours to the wrestling ring. He would be the only one on that van with his mask on. Now listen to this. This is how serious he was, brother. We'd go, now, like I said, it was early in the morning. We'd be in that van, all of us going to an arena to wrestle 3 hours away. We would get there to the arena, we'd wrestle, we'd leave there, we'd go to a restaurant and eat. He'd be the only one, again, the only one with a mask on. Because when you're far away from the arena, in Mexico, they all try and protect their identity. You know what I mean? But when you're away from the arena and you're 50 miles down the road, you can take your mask off and, you can be yourself and relax. Not Mil Mascaras, brother. Mil Mascaras still has his mask on. So check this out. We go and have dinner. He's eating his dinner with his mask on. He's eating his dinner with his mask on, brother. Lifting it up, lifting it up, just to this far, though. You know what I mean? Yeah. Brushed his teeth with his mask on. I felt honored, to be honest with you. After he got done wrestling, showered with his mask on. Never took his mask off. So they told Mil Mascaras and I that we had to go with another driver because him and I were in the main event like about 2 hours down the road. Everybody else went home. So just Mil Mascaras and me in the van. He still kept his mask on, never took it off. We ended up wrestling the 2 out of 3 that night, and the promoter came. The promoter came to the arena after everybody was gone. It was just Mil Mascaras, myself, and the promoter. Believe it or not, Mil Mascaras took his mask off. And it was just him, me, and the promoter. I felt kind of, honored. You know what I mean? Like, wow. He wouldn't take his mask off with his brothers here, the Mexicans, but he took it off, with me there. And I was like, wow. The only thing I regret, brother, as far as about that whole deal, that I don't have one of them of Mil Mascaras. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But other than that, man, that's how deep Mil Mascaras wasn't trying to cover up or protect his identity of wrestling, man.
Unbelievable.
And he put two masks on top of another, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He had one mask on, and then because he would do it as a tradition, and he'd take the other mask off and just throw it to the fans. That way he had, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was an experience, brother. That was an experience.
That's really crazy stuff. Before I talk about WCW, I just want to ask, what's it like being a big man on the road? How difficult is it to travel, being so tall, being so wide? You're the roadblock for a reason. How tough was it all those years traveling as a big man?
It was a challenge. It was a challenge. But here's where I looked at it like this, brother. I realized that I didn't have it as bad as some people. And I'm going to explain to tell you the reason why I say that. I was in Mexico. I went and got in the van. This is when I first got to Mexico. I got in the van, and the seat, it was a steel seat. You know what I mean? The steel bars to hold the seat up. It was bent at a 45-degree angle, like this. I said, what the hell happened in this seat? Oh, Andre just got out of it. He was here last week. Andre bent the seat back because he was so big. And I'm saying to myself, oh my God. I said, and I'm complaining. I'm 6'7", and Andre's 7 foot what? You know what I mean? And he had to endure the same situation. You know what I mean? And it was like, I don't have it as bad as I could have it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's been challenges my whole life as far as being my size, but I've learned to adjust, and, I'm blessed, man. I mean, I'll tell you another thing here. This here DDP, I don't know if you ever heard about it or not. DDP?
Of course, yeah.
I've lost a lot of weight doing his DDP, and I feel a difference in my body as far as flexibility and all that, and I'm doing a lot better, as far as, because I didn't wrestle for the last 20 years, and I got up to like 510 pounds.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's a lot, man. I could barely, get around in that, and I still work for the city, but, I'm blessed, man. I got COVID back in December. I lost 35 pounds, and then I got into the DDP. I got a hold of Diamond Dallas. We started talking, and he hooked me up with his program. And he said, brother, I take care of all the boys, because DDP is a true brother, man. And I'm blessed, man. So as far as my size, I've never used it against me as far as bullying people, because that's just not the way I was brought up. And, I adjusted, there was good times and bad times, so
yeah,
it's all good.
This DDP yoga is giving people a new lease on life. I've seen so many videos. I've been doing it myself over the years. Like someone like Chris Jericho, he couldn't come back to wrestling unless he fixed his back, and he fixed his back through DDP yoga. So a lot of this, even Mick Foley, he's doing it because of his knees, and he's suffering real bad these days. So any chance anyone wants to plug DDP yoga on this show, it's fine by me, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, hey, this is one of the shirts, man. Positively unstoppable. Yeah. That's his shirt, man. DDP's the man, brother. I'm telling you. Have you got the chance or the blessing to be able to talk to him?
Not yet. No, I would love to, but he probably gets bombarded with requests every day. So hopefully one day I can. I've sent a few emails, but you know, again, I understand people like him.
Oh yeah, no, he's not like me. I mean, I got all the time in the world, basically. You know, if I'm not working or I don't have my son, you know, I mean, Sundays, the weekends are when I'm free every other weekend. You know, during the week I'm busy, you know, working, and then after I work, I got, you know, stuff going on, and I got my son every other week, and so that only gives me like every other weekend, which is why I was able to do it today, you know, at this time and that. But DDP, I couldn't imagine. I'm sure he's got, you know, public relations people telling him what he's got to do and where he's got to go, and you know. But God bless him, man. He's a Mohegan, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I will hold hope that one day I get in touch with him because I'd love to connect with him. And speaking of DDP, it's time to talk about WCW, bro. This is where I first discovered you and became a fan of you. 1996. How does this opportunity come about to come aboard World Championship Wrestling?
Again, we're going to go back to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in Japan, like you said earlier, I met, you know, you named several different people, and Kevin Sullivan was one of them. And Kevin Sullivan liked me and said, brother, I tell you something, man, if I ever had the opportunity, man, to help you and get you a spot, I'll do it. He said, because your facial expressions and everything is just so strong, man. And you know, I like you, and that he took to me. And I said, thank you. I appreciate it. And you're a good man too, Kevin. I appreciate all your help and everything and that. And we left on good terms. Japan, like I said, you know, you try not to burn any bridges because you don't know what bridge you cross tomorrow. And in 96, that's when the wars started with the WCW and the WWF, because I took time off of wrestling, you know, and I said, you know what? Hey, look at this. WCW and WWF, they're hitting, I mean, they're going off the Richter scale, you know what I mean? That's when they had the wars. And I found out that Kevin Sullivan was the booker. He was the man there. And I got a hold of him and I said, hey, Kevin, this is Roadblock. I said, you know, I really like to come there and see what kind of opportunities I have. And he says, brother, not a problem. I'll set you up. And, you know, it just snowballed from there. I mean, I came there at a time where there was just so much going on, man. You get lost in the shuffle. And, you know, I mean, there was a lot of talent there that was a whole lot better than me. I'm not saying I was or not, but there was a whole lot more better talent there that was just getting overseen, you know, like that should have been, you know, and all they did was focused on, you know, certain people that, you know, I think they could have been a whole lot better and they could have been a whole lot more successful. I think they could have probably took WWF down if they would have worked their talent better and their shows better. But that's for me not to say, you know. Anyways, yeah. I'm blessed, man, to have had the opportunity to wrestle there in the WCW from 96 to 98. And again, you know, I mean, you know, I was older there. I was like 38, 39 years old. And you know, I was blessed to meet a lot of guys, and that's when, you know, myself, Hugh Morris, and Public Enemy became good friends. You know, because I crossed paths with these guys. Let me explain to you. Prior to going to the WCW, when I was in Mexico, Hugh Morris was coming or going, and I was coming or going. So we crossed paths, and he was a New Jersey boy, Hugh Morris, and Johnny Grunge. And Rocco Rock.
Yep.
They both wrestled for WCCW, the Savoldi brothers, back in the day. But they weren't, you know, Public Enemy. They were both, you know, independent or single wrestlers.
Yeah.
And, you know, And then once I went to WCW, it was like we were all reunited or united, you know what I mean? And that's how we became a clique. You know, we traveled together every night and partied together every night. And, you know, that was a good thing, man. But
That's
yeah,
great,
it was
bro.
from 96 to 98. And what happened to the end of my run with WCW was I felt that, you know, I was a team player long enough to the point to where they could have gave me some kind of a contract. And, you know, like I said, I think I might have been a team player too long and I could have did things different that I didn't. But, you know, the point I'm getting to is that I already wrestled Bill Goldberg, and they called me up and they said, hey, Roadblock, we got a ticket for you to go to New Orleans to wrestle Bill Goldberg on a Monday Nitro. Because the first time I wrestled Bill Goldberg was on a Saturday night, whatever event. And I said, okay, no problem. And I went to thinking, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to go. So I called them up and I sent them the ticket back. I said, I'm sending you the ticket back. I can't go. Something came up and I'm not going to be able to make it. And they said, okay, no problem. Send the ticket back. I sent the ticket back or ripped it up, whatever. And then 2 weeks later, they sent me another ticket to wrestle Bill Goldberg in Miami, Florida. And I said, you know what? I'm going to just come clean with him and explain to him rather than tell him, you know, things come up, I can't do it. Because it's kind of sort of, you know, why buy the cow when you could get the milk for free? You know what I'm saying or no? You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And they were basically getting the milk for free from me on a nightly rather than paying me a contract or something to where I have security.
Yeah.
So even though I had the job with the city still, you know, I was looking to see what way I was going to be going here. So what happened was, because I would have left the city job, even though I was in the city, to move to Atlanta or whatever to make this a good run because, you know, that's what I wanted to do at the time. But anyways, I called WCW and I don't know who I talked to, maybe JJ Dillon or something. And I said, hey, JJ, I got to be straight up with you and honest, man. It's not a matter of that I can't make this here Monday Nitro to wrestle Bill Goldberg in Miami. It's a matter of I need some kind of guarantee from WCW. I've been working for you for 2 years. I said, I've done everything that you guys wanted me to every time, every step of the way. And, you know, if I can't get a deal here, we can't work out a contract. And I'm just going to have to stop coming here because I'm done. You know what I mean? And they said, okay, no problem. We'll get back a hold of you. We'll let you know what's going on. And it just happened to be that was the time when everything was falling apart at WCW too. You know what I mean? If you think about it, back in late '98, things were just starting to fall apart for WCW, them and WWF. And I got a call. I think they said, well, you know, we're not going to be able to do anything with you right now, but if you want to stay with us for a little longer, maybe we might be able to work something out down the line. And I told him, I said, I can't do that. I can't do it. And what I should have possibly done was maybe called up WWE at the time. You know, maybe they would have gave me a shot because they were looking for something to just help their company out. Not that I would have or not, but I'm just saying, you know. But you know, that was the end of my my run as far as with WCW. And then, like I said, you know, Johnny Grunge and what's his name? Rocco Rock. Yeah, Rocco, they left the WCW to go to WWF, and they really screwed them over because what happened was, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but before Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge went to WCW, WWF gave them a deal. They said, hey, we'll bring you guys on. We want you guys to wrestle for us. And what they did was they played the what is that? The ladder thing where, okay, well, we could get a deal here with WWF, or we could get here a deal with WCW. So they're playing them back and forth to see who they get the best deal with. So WCW, they were just giving money out hand over fist. And so they got a good deal from WCW to where, they told WWF, we're done. We're gonna go to WCW. And what happened was that came back to them. If you think about it, they burned their bridge with WWF, because what happened was they realized and seen that WCW was starting to go down. So they said, a couple guys, I'll tell you something else too, after this, a couple guys started going over to WWE from WCW. And Public Enemy was one of the crews, tag teams that went over to WWE. And as soon as they got there, Vince doesn't forget, man. Vince doesn't forget. And he pounded them. I mean, they shot on I don't know if you ever seen any of their matches when they were over there.
Of that. Yeah.
I mean, they just they did a shoot on them guys. They just literally opened up can of whoop ass on both of them. And after they did that, they just got rid of them. They ruined them. Yeah. And so they ended up going into independence. You know what I mean? Because they couldn't go back to WCW. They couldn't go to WWF. So now they were on their last run with the independence. Like I said, I was going to get back to the WWE. I was working with the WCW, and I got a call from, who the hell, what the heck's his name? Oh, man, I can't think of his name right on hand. Oh, he was one of their, I can't think. He was their agent. He was one. Who was that?
Is this you talking about Jim Ross or Bruce Pritchard or?
Not one of them two. It was someone else. The black hair, the beard. Oh, what the hell?
Lanza?
No. He was in the. He wasn't like one of the agents in the front. He was way in the back, like one of the executives. Jerry Russo. Jerry Russo. Vince Russo. There you go. See, thanks a lot, brother. You know your stuff, man. You know your stuff. But Vince Russo called my house, and I wasn't home. And he wanted me to come over to the WWE to join Earthquake, John Tenta, because you know how John Tenta was doing a mask gimmick?
Yeah. In
the very end, they wanted me to come over there and tag up with him as a gimmick, with a mask gimmick.
Right.
But they never got a hold of me. And at that time, guess who was leaving the WCW to go over to WWF? The Giant.
Oh, right.
The Giant went over to the WWF. So they said, well, shit, we're bringing in the true Giant. What are we going to bring in, Roadblock for? We don't need him. We got the Giant.
Right.
And so, that all fell through. But, it makes me feel good. At least they thought a little bit about me. But I don't know what it would have turned out to be, if I did go there. Even though I would have been under a mask, so nobody would have really known who I was anyway. But
still, that's pretty cool to know.
That was cool.
I was thinking as this conversation was going on that, like, man, Vince Russo would love this guy because you're both from New York. I mean, you get along quite well, I would say. So yeah, I mean, it seems like it would be a perfect match.
Yeah, that would have been nice, but I guess what's meant to be, and ain't. So it's all good. Everything happens for a reason. You believe that?
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that again, from my research, you talked about like your end of your WCW run there, but I kind of wanted to talk about the beginning here because I love this segment that took place. And I wanted to see if I could find out what was actually going on here. It was the 16th of October, 96. It's at the Civic Center in Anderson, South Carolina. You were slated to face Randy Savage, who didn't show up. And to quote you, upon hearing the news in the ring, you the referees are there talking about how Randy's not there, and you exclaimed, I've been waiting my whole career for this. And I thought that you sold it so well. And I was so impressed with you're telling the story of yourself at this point in your career in one sentence. And everyone already now knows that this is a journeyman who's waiting his whole career for this moment, and Savage isn't going to show up. You go backstage, you grab a job guy by the name of Dale Wolf, you drag him to the ring, you destroy him, And then you proceed to challenge Lex Luger to a match on Nitro that Monday. I thought, what a great way to come out of the gates there. Could you please tell me about what happened there and why you didn't end up facing Randy and why this came about?
Brother, you know what? Your guess is as good as mine because they never said anything to me why they did that or why they even had me say that. And then go from Randy to Lex. Yeah. I don't know. I'm boggled at that myself. Why they didn't just have me do Lex Luger right from the get-go? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they had me do Randy, and I have no clue.
It was a cool little angle, I will say. And then you do face Lex on Nitro in Mankato, Minnesota on the 21st of October, 96 at the Civic Center there. Beats you with the torture rack. This is your first outing on Nitro. This must have been pretty exciting for you to be on that prime time during the Monday Night Wars on Nitro. Tell me how that felt being on live Monday Nitro.
It was an adrenaline rush, and to be on the Monday Nitro and working with Lex, that was an experience. Without due respect to Lex Luger, he was an over man. He was over, and but he wasn't the type to want to give a lot. If you understand what I'm saying, when you're in the match, he wants to take more than give. And my honest feeling, it's a give and take if you want to have a good match. You know what I mean? And Lex was more of a taker, but I felt like, okay, I felt the match that we had was really a lot of missed spots. And, there were spots that I wanted to do with Lex Luger that he prevented me from doing it because maybe he wasn't comfortable with me or whatever. And he wanted to get over because this was the Lex Luger show, for this match here, to get him over. And again, I did what I had to do to be a team player and to get Lex over. He went to get me in the rack the first time and he couldn't get me up. And he said, "Brother, what the hell? We can't do this." I said, "No, brother, we'll do it. Let's try it again." I said to him in the ring, "Let's do it again. I'll get up." He says, "Okay, brother. Okay." And then, he got me in the rack and, boom, I got up for him, and got him over,
Yeah.
And I wrestled him again, another match down the line. It was me and Ricky Fuller. It was Rick Fuller, myself, tagging up against the Giant and Lex Luger. And that was a pretty damn good match there that we had because I was able to get a whole lot more of my stuff out with Luger, you know what I mean, than I did that Monday Nitro and with the Giant, Giant's the Giant, you know what I mean? Even though he was real green and young and that, I mean, he was definitely a future guy in the business.
Absolutely. And another thing I really wanted to ask you about was that sawhorse shaped roadblock you'd wear as you walk into the ring. I want to know, did you travel with that thing, or when you got to the arena, was there always one there? How do you organize something like that?
Well, I was here and I'm trying to get my gimmick together, my outfit and all this and that. And I want it to be different. And I'm saying, well, shoot, if I'm going to be a roadblock, I need to bring something to the ring, maybe like a roadblock, you know what I mean? Like a sawhorse that's a roadblock. And I'm saying I can't bring a wooden one, And so I found there was a sawhorse. It was a metal sawhorse, and it folds up into like a little, into a little package. So I ended up spray painting it and getting the light on it. I fixed it, made it, and I folded it up, and I was able to carry it on in a bag and, carry it to the ring. But what I did mess up was I should have put tape on the very bottom edges of it, because what happened was when I was with WCW, I went to put it over my shoulders. And when I put it over my shoulders, the very bottom edge was so sharp, I sliced my thumb in half.
Shit.
Just before going out to the ring, wrestling the guy, and my ring and my finger was gushing blood out of it, brother. I mean, it was bleeding. And I, forget my thumb. Let me get out there and work. So I get out there, and my finger is just steadily bleeding. And I was getting them in the crotch, picking them up, slamming them 3-4 times. And, within 3 minutes, his pants all around his crotch were all full of blood. It looked like he had his period. And, my finger was just steadily bleeding. And they said, just take it home, man. Just take it home. And, we took it home, and my finger, I still, looking at it right now to this day, I got a scar, but I should have did something about that. When I got home, I got some rubber things to cover that little edge so I didn't have to worry about it happening again. But that's how I came up with that there little gimmick.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I had to bring that up, but the people would be mad if I interviewed Roadblock and didn't bring up the actual roadblock that you carried to the ring. So I do have a bunch of matches. I was just gonna kind of skim through and announce on this interview. And if you have a story here or there, please chime in. If not, I'll just keep going. But after you wrestle Lex, you work on WZWA main event in Rochester, Minnesota against Ron Studd, who's known as Ron Reese. On the same day, you also wrestled Jeff Jarrett for the WCW Saturday night taping for that week. And then your next appearance was the 24th of November at the Norfolk Scope in Virginia for the World War III Battle Royal, 60 men, 3 rings. Do you have any story of that experience? Because that's only happened like 3 or 4 times. So anytime I have someone on the show, like a Bobby Blaze, they always had a little story about their experience in the World War III. So how was that?
Actually, believe it or not, that was when I actually met Rey Mysterio and Kevin Nash and Scott Hall in the ring, not in the back or anything, in the ring, because they called my name and I was just doing whatever. And then all of a sudden, Rey Mysterio comes in and we're talking and, chopping each other, whatever, just doing little things. And Kevin Nash and Scott Hall come in. Hey, brother, what's up? Hey, good, you? Good to see you here and this and that. And, we're just shooting the breeze, you know what I mean? And that's actually where I met, like I said, them 3 guys, which was really cool. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, one of them had to take me out.
So you're having a conversation in the ring with the guys as you're working.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's fun, man. If you can't have no fun, that's when you got to just say, you got to give it up.
And you did mention the Giant earlier. The first time you worked with him was on the 27th of January, 97 on Nitro at the Veterans Memorial Auditorium in Des Moines, Iowa. You also worked with him on the 19th of March, the 7th and 8th of June on house shows, and also the 15th of July. So you worked with him quite a few times. I think just looking at your matchups that you had in WCW, this is the guy you probably worked with the most. How did you find working with a young Paul White?
I found it was fun. It was fun. I mean, I knew that they were looking to build him up more and more and take him to where, to the top where he should be, and I was just, happy that I could do what I could do to help him, and we had a couple good matches. We had what you call big man matches. They weren't real long, but it wasn't, supposed to be real long, I guess, because they didn't want, Paul looking like I'm giving him a hard time because I'm not a headliner, you know what I mean? And so, we had some good matches though. You know what I mean? We went back and forth. He gave me a little here and there, and Paul was a good dude to work with. I like Paul. He was a good dude. He was young and that.
That's cool, bro. I'm sorry if a lot of these questions coming up are just for, how was it working with this guy? How was it working with this guy? But I've seen every match that you've ever had in WCW, except for the live events, the house shows, of course. So I really like to, I'm excited to sink my teeth into all of this. 4th of February 97, you pick up a win over Buddy Lee Parker in Jackson, Tennessee. 17th of February, you work against Chris Benoit at the Florida State Fairgrounds in Tampa, Florida. I believe you worked with him again on Saturday night soon after that. What's it like working with Chris Benoit?
Working with Chris Benoit is like having a night off, man, because Chris Benoit is a master at his craft. And Chris is another person that he wants to help you get over as well as getting himself over, because the stronger you make the match look, the stronger he looks. And Chris is a master at his craft. He was. God bless him. You know, Chris was a hell of a good dude. I mean, God bless him. I mean, what happened to him, I don't know, man. Whether, you know, there's speculation of what happened, didn't happen, something else happened, but I can't, you know, Chris was a hell of a good dude, man. If you would have, I don't know if you ever talked to him or anything. Oh man, if you talk to Chris, you would never, ever think he was, you know, did what he did. You never ever thought that, because he's just so humble. And to be such a professional and a master at his craft. I mean, Chris was one of the best guys I liked there. You know what I mean? Personality wise, he was A1 dude.
Yeah, but I think, you know, I mean, I don't want to speculate, but, you know, there's, you know, a lot of the concussion issues, and, you know, when they tested his brain and all that afterward, they found out it was so damaged from all the years and a lot of lesions here and there. And I guess it's, they said he had like an 82-year-old's Alzheimer's brain almost. It was so damaged. So something must have just gone wrong somewhere. But you think about what's happened with a lot of NFL players over the years with their concussions, and how some of them snapped and did things that they was completely out of their character. This kind of thing is, I just think, prevalent with head injuries.
Question for you. Have you heard the theory that possibly somebody else did this and killed him?
I have, yeah, but I don't know. I think with I don't know.
I'm just curious. What is your opinion on that one? Or are you just
the only thing I ever heard was that, like, people like, oh, maybe Kevin Sullivan did it, but there's no way. It was so many years afterward. Why would he hold a grudge that long and then do something like that? That's a ridiculous kind of claim that we've heard over the years. But you know, I can't even imagine why anyone would do something like that. You know. Right.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just a sad situation all around, man. All around, it's a sad situation. You know.
It is, yeah.
You know, God bless all three of them.
Absolutely. So I did want to bring up Rick Fuller, because I see you two as so similar. You're both the big guys working on Saturday Night or Nitro, and you help build a guy like Luger or the Giant or DDP or Goldberg. You know, did you and Rick get along? Did you ever both kind of? Did you get a feeling from him? Yeah, you know, did you two ever?
Oh yeah.
Because I kind of feel like, man, Roadblock and Rick Fuller, two missed opportunities there, two big guys. Yes, it's helpful to have you guys help build these other guys, but did you ever both kind of feel like you want a bit more of a push with some victories on TV? You know, how were your experiences with Rick?
Well, Kelly, I mean, I come from, like I said, an amateur background. And like I said, I'm in the Hall of Fame of high school here. I'm in the Hall of Fame of the local college regionals here, Hall of Fame. And I wasn't a loser, you know, out of my whole amateur career, junior high school, and college, I've only been pinned one time. One time I've only been pinned. And for me to go to a professional wrestling situation, knowing that it's all set up, it's all business, I really, really, really humbled myself to the maximum to do what I did, because legitimately 90% of them guys would have had no shot with me wrestling.
Yeah.
And I just looked at it as it was a business, me looking to, you know, make a living. And I think, again, a big part of it had to do with when I jumped in the ring, gave them a lot of a sour taste in their mouth. In fact, I'll tell you another reason why I say that, if you want me to. If not, I'll just move on. But
Sure.
like I said, when I met Randy Savage in Japan, I talked to him. He was all nice guy. He was putting me over. Oh, Roadblock, you're a good worker, man. I said, yeah, Randy, I thank you very much, brother, but I don't think Vince is ever going to let me come work for him because I jumped in the ring. Then he tells me, well, Roadblock, my father, my brother, and we also had a promotion that was wrestling against WWE. We were in a promotion that was taking money away from him. And he, my father and my brother and I were all good with Vince McMahon. He'll forgive and forget if he knows he can make some money with you. I said, oh, okay, thanks, Randy. I appreciate that. So I'm saying to myself, well, I got Randy in my back pocket to look out for me when I do, get to that point. So I came back home from, my contract with WCW, and it just happened to be the same time, same month that WCW was coming to Rochester, New York for a live TV taping. So when they do the live TV taping, everybody's there. Vince McMahon, everybody's there. And Pat Patterson, that's his right-hand man. I don't know if you know that. That was his right-hand man. But anyways, I come home and I go to the show and I'm meeting all these guys that I worked with and wrestled with and met when I was in Japan. And I see Randy Savage. And he sounded all excited for me. Roadblock, oh my gosh, you're home. I said, yeah. He goes, come on, brother. Let me go introduce you to Vince. Now I'm thinking, well, shit, he's going to look out for me. You know what I mean? Acting like this. So I go to Vince's office, or his room. Yeah, his office. And Randy knocks on the door. Vince opens up the door. He looks at me, and maybe like Pat Patterson's room's right next to him. And he comes out like, they're like clockwork, Pat and Vince, they're like looking at each other, and they look at Randy and me. And Randy says, hey, Vince. Now, rather than Randy Savage say, hey, Vince, this is Roadblock. He was in Japan for 6 months training. He's a good worker. Give him a shot, a dark match. You'd have thought he would have said something like that, right, to put me over. First thing he says, Vince, you know who this is? Vince looks at Pat Patterson. Pat Patterson looks at Vince, and they both look at me, and they say, no, who is he? Randy Savage says, this is the guy that jumped in the ring here on Hulk Hogan and the One-Man Gang.
Nice.
So Vince and Pat look at each other and they said, oh, okay. And they turn around and they go back in their rooms, and I look at, Randy Savage, and I'm saying, wow, dude, really? And he walked away. You know what I mean? And I didn't talk to Randy no more after that. He acted like, he was, better than me or something at that point now. Because he already, stuck the dagger in me.
Yeah, that's so strange.
So what happened was when I went to WCW, he tried to stick me again. I was in the locker room. Hulk Hogan's there. First time, meeting Hogan after, I met him at the gym. Randy Savage walks in and he sees me and Hogan talking, introducing each other. And he says, Hogan, you know who he is, right? And Hogan says, yeah, I know who he is. Why? He says, he's the one that jumped in the ring on you. And Hogan said, Randy, enough's enough. Stop. That was years ago. Stop. So Randy, he really didn't help me. He stuck a fork in me, if you know what I mean. And he buried me. And then years later, I got a dark match with the WWF, as you mentioned. And Chief Strongbow was he was one of the agents, and he loved my match. And somebody said to me, Chief Strongbow never, ever does this with people, brings you to Vince to show him that, hey, this is a good worker here, good talent, maybe, Chief Strongbow brought me right to Vince's office again. Pat Patterson's office is next. They come out of the rooms together like clockwork. I don't know how they do that, but and they're looking at each other. And Chief Strongbow goes, "Hey, did you see this kid's match?" And Vince says, "Yeah." And Chief Strongbow says, "What do you think about it?" And Vince says, "Yeah, he's the one that jumped in the ring on me." See what I mean? So I think that really had a long-lasting effect on my, wrestling career. And,
I understand.
it is what it is, but, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm good.
I'm happy to hear, sir. Thank you for sharing that. Awesome stuff. We're getting to the tail end here now of the interview. I wanted to ask you about your finishing maneuver, the dead end, where you'd be on the ring apron and you kind of flip yourself over backwards over the top rope onto your opponent. Where did you come up with this idea for a finish?
I wanted to come up with something different than anybody else. You know what I mean? Because I just, wanted to come up with something, and I couldn't think of anything. And I said, and I sat on this outside of the ring one day, and I'm looking at where the height of the ropes were, and I'm saying, well, maybe I could do a backflip. And it just, and then just figured out one thing after another, and that's how I did. I never really mastered it because, I just never did it a lot until the one day I said, okay, I'm going to do it, and I did it. You know what I mean? It's not like I had somebody, hey, will you come to the ring with me and, lay here and let me practice my finish? It wasn't like that. I had to do the, right from the first one on. So there were times where I did it perfected, and there were times where I was a little to the right or a little to the left, the times that I did, do it.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to come up with something a little different, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, and it's something that I remember, and it stood out. And yes, sometimes you landed right in the middle, and then sometimes you'd be like, "Oh dear, he's gonna squish Lash LaRue there."
Yeah. I mean, the most important thing is when you're in that ring, man, is you got to protect the man you're working with. You know what I mean? I mean, as far as the business aspect of it, you know what I mean? Because this is a job, it's entertainment, and he's got a family, he's got to feed, and I got a family, I got to feed, and we all got to go home safe, So the most important thing, you don't want to hurt nobody.
Of course.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's been times now where I've been in the ring where somebody's wanted to try and shoot on me, and then I'd have to get them straight and say, "Whoa, dude, if this is the route you want to go, we could go this route. But if you want to end it, like we're supposed to, we could do that too." And, like I was in the ring, God bless this guy, Jim Neidhart. I was working with Jim Neidhart one night, and he got in the ring. He was scared for some odd reason. He thought I was, gonna be rough on him or something. And he said, brother, please, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. I said, brother, I'm not going to hurt you, but I mean, you're going to have to give me some of the spots here because you're just taking over completely. I said, it's supposed to be a 50-50 match. It's not a squash match or anything like that because we were told, put something on out here and, it ain't going to be a 2-minute thing. And, he wanted to take over completely and shine. And I said, yo, let's work together here and, we can work it out. But I mean, if you're going to be like that, then I got to get what I got to get. He said, no, brother, let's work it out. And then, I can't remember exactly how the match went or so, but, it's been a couple times, but it's all good, man.
Absolutely, bro. So you round off 97, you work with Public Enemy, Ice Train, Meng, Barry Darso. I watched that match earlier, actually. And, of course, DDP. And getting into 1998, his final year with WCW, facing John Nord on Worldwide on January 24th in Orlando, 5th of May, 98 against Jim Duggan in Springfield, Illinois, Frankie Lancaster, who's someone I've had on the show in Portland, Maine on May 19th, 98. As you're moving through 1998, because that's May, and you end up working there until July when you have 2 matches in Beaumont, Texas against both Jim Neidhart and Jim Powers, which is your last match and victory as well in WCW. Was there a point during the year where you thought to yourself, I'm starting to feel like, okay, it's time for me to maybe get away from here? Because you have a pretty good year there in those first 7 months of 1998.
I felt like, you know, one of the big things about when you're wrestling for, you know, these major companies is your longevity. You want to try and keep it going as long as you can. And like I said earlier to you, you know, when you got the cow or when you get the milk, or, you know, when you get the cow, you don't need to buy the milk. Well, I can't even remember how I said it. You know, why buy the cow when you get the milk for free? They were getting the milk for free from me for that long, to the point to where, you know, I felt like, you know, it's time. I got to do something here because, you know, there were people getting deals there that I'm saying, you know, what the hell? I mean, I'm doing my job. I'm doing whatever they want. I should be able to get a deal too, regardless of what it is. Just give me something to show me that you appreciate my loyalty to you, you know? And I'll tell you something. Kevin Sullivan came up to me one night around this time, and he said to me, he said, "Hey, Roadblock," he says, "I heard that WCW or WWE got a hold of you. They're interested in you going working for them. And here's where I screwed up." I said, no, not really. No, they didn't. I should have said, yeah, they're talking to me and they want to possibly bring me in rather than.
Well, I think you've muted yourself there by accident.
Let's try and, you know, work something with this guy here. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, man. You know what I mean? Like I said, you know, it is what it is, man. It was what it was. And I'm blessed.
Yeah, bro, absolutely. And you kind of earlier talked about how you ended up leaving WCW and you'd spoke to JJ and all this stuff. And, you know, you knew it was time to, you know, nearing 40 years old. One question I have is, you know, I mean, there is another match that I thought was interesting in my research, and please tell me if this is true. 18th of December, 98, you defeat the Iron Sheik in Hamburg, New York. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Now that must have been an honor for you to work with him.
Oh my God, that was him. I tell you him and King Kong Bundy. Them two were like unbelievable matches I'll never forget. And I cannot believe they both put me over. I could not believe that. They said, "Brother, listen to me. We've been there. We've done it all. You know, let's give you this." I said, no, you're the legend, man. You guys are the legend. And he said, "No, I won't even step out in that ring if that's not going to happen." And we went out there and he let me put him over, man. I tell you, it was unbelievable, man. That was a blessing, man. And I'll tell you something, that Iron Sheik, I don't know if you ever seen them with them, the clubs.
Yeah.
Brother, I tried that. No freaking way, man. There's no way. How he does that and did that, I'm just blown away, brother, because he's not no spring chicken, and to have his arms straight out like that and to bring him up and around, I don't know how he did it, man. But he was definitely a highlight, one of the highlights in my career of being able to wrestle Iron Sheik. And like I said, King Kong Bundy, another one, because they were, you know, they were a couple legends, you know.
Excellent, bro. Yeah, no, I just thought it was important to bring that up because I was like, wow, the Iron Sheik in 1998 as well. That's like, it's such an honor to work with such a legend.
Oh my God, unbelievable honor. I tell you who I loved working with also too, and I feel honored. And I had some good matches with was with Jim. Jim Hacksaw. Jim Duggan. super cool dude, man. Super cool dude. I mean, he's the best, man. If you go watch the match that we had, which was on the Thursday Thunder, which was my only match on Thursday Thunder with him.
Yeah.
That was probably one of my best matches that I had with WCW. One of my best matches. And Jim let me call that whole match. Jim
Really?
didn't take charge or nothing. He said, Block, I want you to call this match. I want you to set it up and let me, And I said, okay, brother. I mean, it wasn't a real long match, but it was a good match. And, it could have been better, but it could have been a whole lot worse. And I loved working with Jim, man. That was a good shit there, man. That's
cool, bro. And if anyone out there wants to check out that match, it's on July 16th edition of Thunder in Oakland, California. So there was one thing that I thought might be interesting to ask you about before we sail off into the sunset here with this great interview here, Roadblock. But you speak of things that make you feel great in your time in wrestling is that adrenaline rush. How does one adjust to life once you've left the business? How do you adjust to never feeling that adrenaline rush anymore? Do you go to a karaoke bar and maybe you get a little adrenaline rush when your name's called? How do you? This is something that's a big part of you, and now you no longer get to feel that feeling. So what do you do to replace that?
Brother, waking up every day, getting out of bed, being blessed that I can go to work and come home and be safe and just have another fresh breath, fresh air, man. Waking up every day because, after I got out of wrestling back in 1999, 98, 99, I bought a house, started full-time with the city, and I ended up having heart failure. It just, I don't know how it happened. It just happened, but I had heart failure. This was like back in 2000, 2 weeks after I bought my house. And, that was a real wake-up call, letting me realize that, I'm here for a reason. The Lord's blessing me, man. And to be able to wake up every morning and get out of bed and have another fresh breath of fresh air and to just keep going, man, that's an adrenaline rush alone. You know what I mean? For me now, doing this DDP, I get a nice rush doing this too, man, because it just makes me feel good all over, inside and out, and I'm blessed, man. I got 2 grandchildren. I got 2 boys, and, to be able to watch them grow up, that's another rush, man. It's just the blessings is the bottom line, is where I get my adrenaline now, is from the blessings from the Lord up above, man, just every day.
I love to hear that. You want to talk about an adrenaline rush. When I had tried searching high and low, how am I going to be able to find a way to contact Roadblock? I searched your name on Facebook. I found the name. I'm like, this has to be him. I only had a little thumbnail of your picture, so I couldn't quite see if it was you or not. I got a response saying, "Hello, young man. How can I help you?" And that's an adrenaline rush for me. It's like, all right, here we go. And only a few weeks later, we locked in a date. We've done this interview. It means so much to me to be able to have this conversation with you. So I just wanted to say that right here, that, that's my blessing and my adrenaline rush is to be able to connect. And I got to connect with you here tonight.
I got to, what'd you say? I'm sorry. What's the last thing you said?
I got to connect with you here tonight,
brother. And it's a pleasure of mine to be here and talk with you, man. And, you helped me. This is an adrenaline rush for me too today. Besides waking up and getting up, you have little splurts. I tell you something else, man. I haven't wrestled in about 20 years, and another little adrenaline rush that I get as far as from the business still. There's different rushes. You know what I mean? Different adrenaline rushes you get. And adrenaline rushes that I still get from the businesses, I still get fan mail sent to me 20 years later, wanting me to sign the pictures and send them to them. I mean, with you, brother, I'm not one that normally has a messenger on Facebook. and somebody sent me a message. I can't remember exactly who it was. And I went on Messenger and I explained to him, I don't really do the Messenger. And when I did do that, I seen that you sent me this here message, but it was last year or something, during COVID or something, because it was a while. And I said, wow, brother wants to do an interview with me. And it was just last year or so. And I said, that gave me an adrenaline rush to read you wanting to do an interview with me. And I said, I sent out a little message to you. It was a while later. And I said, like you, hopefully you'll get back, and you got back. And there we are, man. Here we are. It's a blessing, man. It's my pleasure.
It is. I'm glad, my friend. And I wanted to have the opportunity now to let all your fans out there that have the opportunity to see this interview, let them know what you're up to these days, and where can they find you if they would like to, send you a picture or send you something.
Okay, I caught half of that. My Miracle Ear batteries are going low. Not only kidding. So can you repeat that one more time to me?
Just to let the fans of Roadblock out there know what are you up to these days?
I'm up to these days, brother. I turn 61 next month. I'm blessed. I've been working for the city of Rochester for the last 25 years. And next year, I retire, go on to the next chapter in my life and enjoy that. And I'm doing this DDPY to help me because I torn both medium meniscus, and I've had back issues. And brother, let me tell you something. Since I've been doing this here workout, it's taken away all my pain, man, all my pain. And I thank God and I thank DDP. And I'm so blessed, man. I just can't emphasize that enough. I probably said it a lot, and I emphasize it a whole lot more, that I'm so blessed to be able to wake up each and every day and live my life and get to retirement next year and enjoy, man, and be able to tell all my fans, thank you very much for all the support. And you, brother, I thank you so much, man. You're a blessing, man. You're a blessing. I thank you, because without guys like you, man, the business wouldn't be like it is. Believe me, the business would not be nowhere near like it is, and people wouldn't enjoy it as much. So you're a blessing too, brother. Believe me, and I thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, bro.
I do too, man.
That's really cool of you to say. And we're right at the tail end here, Roadblock. It's the final segment of the show. I told you about it earlier. 5-second frenzy. You have 5 seconds to answer each question. Even if you don't make it to 5 seconds, it's okay. You won't get in trouble. But quick fire questions, quick fire answers. Roadblock, for the first one, who is your favorite wrestler?
I don't know.
No one as a kid that you first really liked out of the gate?
Say that one more time.
Maybe when you were a kid, a particular performer that you liked most? Oh, you've gone. You've muted. Hang on. Sorry, still says you've muted. There we go. Okay, there we go.
I keep getting phone calls. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
I can't hear you.
You can hear me? Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
No, nothing?
Now I got you. I keep getting the phone calls and it's disrupting. But anyways, I'd have to say when I was a little kid, it probably was Cheap White Out, because he taped his thumb and they went like that. But nowadays, man, I really don't know, man. I really don't know. I mean, there's some professionals, good workers, man. And I'm not talking about the era when I wrestled. I'm talking about, when I was growing up during the DDP, or not DDP, but during the, what do you call it? DiBiase and, what's his name? The Heart Foundation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's when, technicians were, now I think wrestling is more commercialized, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I don't think it is as, they got all these high risk maneuvers and stuff like that. But I don't want to get off of your 5-second thing there. I'm sorry, brother.
That's okay, bro. If you had to pick your favorite opponent that you had over the years, who would you pick?
Probably Hacksaw, Jim Duggan.
Excellent, excellent. And favorite match? Is there one match you look back on that you would say is your favorite?
Probably the honor of wrestling the Iron Sheik.
Brilliant, brilliant. Getting away from wrestling now, finally. What's your favorite book?
My favorite book? I really am not an avid reader. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Maybe the Bible? I don't know.
The Bible, I get something on my phone every day from the Bible. So I read scripts from the Bible every day and inspirations from the Bible every day. But I don't read the Bible every day, which I did at one time, and then I put it down. And that's another whole long story. But anyways, I'm not an avid reader of books.
That's okay. Favorite TV
I'll tell you
show?
one thing. There was two books that I read from cover to cover. One book was, maybe you've heard of it. It was called Mice and Men.
Yeah.
Second book I read from cover to cover was called the Riverside Killer. And what that was about was a guy, Arthur Shawcross, here in Rochester, New York, who was a serial killer.
Oh.
And they wrote a book about him. And his name is Arthur Shawcross. I'm not sure if that's the exact name of the book, but the guy's name was Arthur Shawcross. He was a serial killer here. And I wanted to read that whole book because, it's like one of the reasons I watch wrestling nowadays, man, is because it just brings back old memories, of when I wrestled. Like do you guys get the Dark Side of the Ring?
Yes.
The TV show, I watched that, brother, and it's like, wow, man, that just brings back so many memories. And I wanted to read that book because it's here in Rochester, New York, where all these killings happened, and it was right around the corner from where I lived. You know what I mean? Where all these hookers were getting picked up.
Of course.
Right down the street from where I lived. And as I was reading the book, it was familiarizing me, and I could picture all these different places. So that was, that was the book why I read that book. Other than that, I'm not really an avid reader.
Fair enough, bro. And I've written that down now because that sounds interesting. I might check that out. Favorite TV show?
Ooh, man, there was a couple. Can I say a couple?
Sure.
Shameless. Have you ever heard of that one?
Yeah.
Shameless, and I have to say, I liked The Walking Dead, but that's getting a little stale now. And there was the other one I can't even remember now. It's been so long. But I like Shameless. That was a good one. Did you ever watch it?
No, I've seen a couple of episodes though. I should get back into it.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm really into The Walking Dead though, so I like that answer.
Oh, Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones.
Oh, another fantastic one. Cool, bro. Next one, favorite film.
Favorite movie?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to say possibly The Gladiator and maybe the series of The Godfather.
Oh, brilliant. Excellent choice.
And Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, we've had that answer a few times on the show. Getting away from films now, a favorite musical artist or band?
Brother, I really don't have a favorite. If I was to say I had a favorite, I might say Queen, or I might say the Whispers. See, I was brought up in a how can I say it? I was brought up in a predominantly black neighborhood, and I got into a lot of R&B and soul music, and I loved all kinds of music. But I really got into a lot of R&B, and the Whispers, unbelievable. And I'm going to say Queen is another unbelievable. The other one is, what the heck is it? Oh, man. Oh, I can't think of the other one. I'll think of it as we're going on.
No worries, bro. Getting away from the arts now. There's only 5 more. Favorite food?
I'm going to have to say pizza.
Yeah, that's probably the number 1 answer in the show. Favorite place to eat on the road?
Oh, man. Maybe Wendy's, I guess. I mean,
Okay.
because,
Yeah,
possibly Wendy's.
That's cool. Favorite alcoholic beverage?
I'm going to say Patron with a nice Corona on the side.
Very, very nice. That's very classy.
I see you drinking wine.
I'm drinking red wine, yeah.
I like some wine too. I like a little wine here and there.
Yeah. It's later on at night, it keeps me warm.
Yeah, and it relaxes you.
That's it. The second last one, Roadblock. Favorite female body part? You're going to look at a good-looking woman. Where do the eyes go first?
I'm going to have to say the face. I love a pretty face. But taking away the pretty face, I got to have a nice fucking Easter. A nice ass. See, when I was little, though, listen to me. When I was a little kid, I thought tits were the most, good Lord, that'd be the first thing I look at. But then as I got older, they're overrated. You know what I mean? I think a nice backside and a beautiful face is between them. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm a booty guy. I like a good ass. Absolutely. That's where it's at for me.
That's good. I'm glad I'm able to learn a little bit about you too.
It's the first time anybody's ever actually asked me for my answer for something, so I appreciate.
Who's your favorite wrestler ever?
Oh boy, probably Scott Hall. Scott Hall or Kevin Nash. I was like kind of a bit of a nerdy kind of guy in school. And then I discovered them in the NWO, and I started dressing in leather jackets and bandanas, and they kind of made me cool because I mimicked them. So yeah, that's who I looked up to.
That's cool. Scott was a cool dude. Scott was cool. Kevin Nash was more, into himself more so than anything, but he was all right too.
That's cool, bro. And
what's your favorite food?
Here,
what's your favorite food?
Okay. Probably steak.
Steak, okay. Any certain kind, ribeye or porterhouse?
Probably a T-bone steak.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Pretty good.
It's tender too.
It is.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. And the last one of 5 Second Frenzy is your favorite curse word. You've avoided swearing this whole interview, but now's your chance to get one out. What's your favorite curse word?
Probably fuck.
Yeah, that would be the number 1 answer we get on the show too. But this has been awesome, Roadblock. I have had so much fun talking to you here today for you. And I've already said some kind things to you so far, but there's another thing I really wanted to say. And I live in the most isolated city in the world, Perth, Western Australia. And the fact that you can get fandom from somebody so far away from where you are from, I just wanted to say that you should be so proud of what you've accomplished in the business, and the fact that you could have somebody this far away be a fan of your work, that just makes, I feel it makes everything that you put yourself through, all the physicality, cutting your thumb on the roadblock itself, all of that stuff, I think it makes it all worth it in the end, because you've got a fan of me all this way on the other side of the planet, my friend.
And I can say thank you, and I'm blessed to have a fan like you on the other side of the world. And I tell you what, I've always wanted to go to Australia. I always wanted to, that was like, I don't want to say bucket list, because bucket list You know, so many people say, oh, I got on my bucket list. Bucket list means things that you want to do before you die. I don't even want to think about dying. I want to think about living. You know what I mean? Because when that time comes, it comes, you know. But I would love to have been able to go to Australia or Europe, you know what I mean? And who knows? Like I said, next year I retire, Lord willing, maybe I might be able to come that way.
And if you do, I will cook you up a great Aussie barbecue, and I'll make sure that I've got some Patron and some Coronas here for you as well.
Sounds like a deal, brother. I thank you so much. You were blessed today, man. You were a blessing.
You too,
made my
friend.
day.
I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you again so much for taking the time to talk to me.
You got it, brother.
And thank you everyone out there for watching my interview here with the one and only Roadblock here on the Insider's Edge podcast here on the WZWA Network. I'm your host with the most on the West Coast, Karlifornia and Fury, and we will see you next time. Thank you.